Hey, we're the Wheeler family.
I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Ethan.
And we are in northern Thailand, where we live right now, and we've lived here for the last 2.5 years.
We're from Boise, Idaho originally.
Go Broncos!
Some of us were born in San Jose, California, and we like to rub that in the face of those of us that were born in Boise, Idaho, because it sounds cooler.
Clearly, he is the cool one because of his California heritage.
We've been married
almost 18 years. A really long time.
We've been married 18 years, almost 18 years. We've got 4 biological kids and an indeterminate number of foster children and random people living in our house.
This is true.
I was a low voltage engineer. I was an audiovisual lighting systems design engineer. And Kimberly was a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling mom.
Yep. I was teaching our kids who at the time were 12, 10, 7, and 4.
Yeah.
Around there.
That happened fast. Back in 2008, I was on a worship retreat in San Diego, and in the middle of a concert they had one night, it was a Big Daddy Weave concert, and they stopped in the middle of the concert and they did a video presentation on child sex trafficking, and it messed me up a little bit, kind of wrecked my life. We have daughters, we have girls at home, so that hit pretty close to home to hear about what was happening to kids overseas and in America as well, and that sat not well with us for a long time. So in fact, when I got back to Boise, Kimberly and I talked about it, we prayed about it together, we cried about it together, and started looking for something to do to get involved with fighting sex trafficking. It
was pretty disappointing because we didn't find anything, and at the time we felt the only option was to either go into law enforcement or just pray. We didn't really know what we were going to do.
Send $35 a month to a sponsored child, which we're not against. Actually, it's really important, sponsoring kids. It's great. But at the time, we were so messed up by this thing. It felt really empty to us. It just wasn't the right thing for us to do at the time. And to me, it felt more like a reminder that we're not really doing much.
So life moved on for a couple years.
So we had some friends that had been serving in Chiang Rai, Thailand, where we are now. In 2013 to 2014, they served with a trafficking prevention home. And one day they were in a cafe and they met the HR director of a nonprofit organization that did child rescue and restoration. And they gave us a call. We did a little video call and they said, hey, you know that thing that you guys have been talking about for a number of years that's been bothering you, this child sex trafficking thing, we've just met somebody from an organization that fights this, and they're looking for people, and just thought we'd throw that out there. Yeah. And so that actually kind of brought everything back up again. We had some conversations that we hadn't had really in a while on a serious level.
So after we found out about this organization, we started praying seriously, and within I think 5 months, we had already accepted an offer to move overseas. 3 months later, we had sold everything that we owned except for what fit into an 8x10 storage unit, and had moved here to Chiang Rai.
So after we spent the first 2 years working with the first organization, we spent a lot of time praying about where God would have us go next. We talked about going back and getting our old jobs and just firing up our American life again, and that never really sat well with us. It doesn't really feel like what we want to do.
After what we've seen. It's really hard to imagine when you've spent time with these kids. And we know how many are still needing help, just to go back to our typical American life.
We have talked a lot about changing the direction that we're headed with ministry. One of the things that we've always felt God has called us to is on the restoration side of things, a little bit more emphasis on that. So we started heading down that road and just saying, okay, God, what does that mean? And I guess the one thing we realized is that this is a really big fight, and there are a lot of moving parts and a lot of aspects to it. There's prevention, and there's rescue, and there's aftercare, and there's vocational training, and there's just a horde of things. There are foster families and all these things. And it's very difficult to be one person or one organization and hit all of those things. So there are organizations like IJM that go in and do international justice mission, that goes in and does investigations and prosecution of traffickers and things like that. It's extremely important, and prevention is extremely important. But we had to figure out where it was that God was calling us to serve, and what specific things has He put on our hearts, and what has He created us to do, and be So as we were praying about it, one thing that God kept bringing back to us was discipleship and the Great Commission, go therefore and make disciples of every nation. What it's led to is us looking at now working with some overseas partners in projects that specifically do aftercare and discipleship, and then moving back to the U.S. and starting up a new aftercare project there. So at this point, we've looked at doing some video blogging, some vlogging, is it called?
Because we're so good at it.
Yeah, we're awesome. Obviously, we're made to be on video, you can tell.
Basically, we'd like to take anyone along for the journey who would be interested in seeing what it's like to, be a homeschooling family, transitioning overseas, and just what that's like as we start up our foundation.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is so cool about us is that we're really, really normal, and nobody's ever going to look back at us and go, wow, yeah, they really had it all together and they've got it going on, and no wonder they did this great thing. That's not us. We're just kind of, I don't know, we're just who we are, and we're not really looking to do anything big or major or impressive. We just want to accomplish God's purposes for our lives, and we have no idea what that stuff is. So day by day, we're figuring it out. We're just taking the next step. So we thought it would be fun to chronicle a little bit of this for people, partly because maybe we have a little bit of an interesting story, but maybe also we have the kind of story that might be encouraging to people who will watch it. We're not special. We're no different than all of our friends back in Boise, Idaho. And that's really hit me hard over the last few years because I know exactly how not special I am, and yet being able to follow God into this crazy place in northern Thailand and the crazy things that we've done, it's something that you can do if you say yes. I want to be encouraging to people who God might be calling into something else as well, and maybe by showing you how normal we are and how not great at videos we are, and
other things.
And other things.
I'm sure that will come up.
Yeah, you'll see. It'll be pretty obvious. Again, there's nothing special about us, and if you feel like there's nothing special about you, great, cool, we can all do this together. So I do think that there are people out there, and maybe you feel like this is you, that maybe you feel like God's been calling you to something, but it's one of those, oh yeah, we've been praying about this for 10 years, or we're just waiting for this, or waiting for God to do this, or we're waiting for money to be in place, or something like that. And maybe that is the right thing. I don't know. I mean, that's between you and God, but maybe it's that we haven't stepped out in faith to do the terrifying, scary thing that we think is going to be really difficult, and maybe that thing won't be as difficult as we think it's going to be.
So that brings us up to now. We have started the process of starting our own foundation, and it is called the Phoenix Alliance.
Yeah, we picked that name because we want to show a picture of rising from the ashes. In fact, that's our little tagline, is Rise from Ashes, and we think it's a really beautiful picture of strength and beauty and determination, because that's what we've seen over the last couple of years with the girls that we've worked with who have been brought out of trafficking situations. These kids have been hurt bad. They've been through more than most adults in America that I've met anyway.
And they're so strong.
They're incredibly strong, and they recover from these incredibly difficult situations and go on to do really amazing things. We've spent time with these kids and realized, wow, I really need to get it together. This kid's gone through insane things, and look how strong they are, and look how together they are. Yeah. And it's been really, really inspirational to us. It's changed our lives, and we want that to be acknowledged with a picture of what we're doing with the Phoenix Alliance, that they have risen from ashes, and they can rise from ashes, and they can be strong, and they can be beautiful, and they can be amazing. The Phoenix Alliance is going to be a combination of overseas projects and work that we do in the U.S. as well. So we already have our first Chiang Mai partner that we're working with, and her name is Mary, and she's got about a dozen girls already that she's working with. So we'll go into that probably in a later video about what we're doing in Chiang Mai.
So we invite you to come along and just enjoy the journey with us as we learn what we're doing here, starting a foundation.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I think we're going to be very frustrated at times with ourselves and with what we don't know. So hopefully you can just be part of it with us, and please send us notes of encouragement, because we're going to need it from time to time. Gosh, if any of you watch this and say, you know what, I'm going to step out and do my thing, please tell us if we actually affect your life in any way, and we're encouraging to you, because that'll be encouraging to us as well. So
yeah. So thanks.
See you soon. We'll start posting videos soon-ish.
Yeah.
Soon-ish.
Oh my gosh, it sounds so beautiful. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it beautiful, honestly. Especially when it's like 5 in the morning.
No, the singing of our girls. Nothing.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the bird.
Did you hear that, girls? Your mum just burnt you.
She was ready to be on video.
Just gonna see how awkward I can make you feel by holding it as long as possible.
I feel pretty awkward. How many people are here right now? I don't even know how many kids are here right now. How many kids are in the house right now?
There's
We
so
gotta count on our
many.
fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We have
9,
7 and
10. Susie. We have 4 plus
I
April
don't
and
know.
Rosie.
I was more distracted
Plus-
by the bugs. 'Cause you
Are we
really
counting
have to pay
Doi
attention
as
to
a
that.
kid and then
Not really.
and Susie and the An and Ida? That's 10.
There
We
are
have
a
10
lot
kids
of
right
people
now.
here, a lot of children, and unfortunately, that's something that will always probably be a part of our videos.
Unfortunately,
Well, we
Oh,
love
burn.
I
it.
hate children. You know, we made it through that entire video without a single squealing pig, I don't think.
I think that's actually a miracle because the pig squeals approximately every 36 seconds. So
Yeah, but more at 4 a.m.